Hello and welcome to the Gallant Few Rangers podcast. My name's Sean McDuff. I'll be your host as always, and joining me it's a fantastic Scott Hodge. Scott, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Colin?
I'm good. How are you feeling? You've had a few weeks off since you've been last in the pod.
Aye, good. Revitalised, yeah, full of energy. Unlike Rangers at the moment.
Oh, Jesus, man. I tweeted a couple of weeks ago along the lines of, okay, Rangers, we get it. You can play shite and still win, but we've not. Apart from last night, we've been playing shite and no winning.
I know.
So Rangers won, Colin nil with that one. So at least we're back to winning ways, I suppose, with Livingston. How do you think the game went last night?
I thought we were good in spells. I think Gary McAllister summed it up quite well in terms of, you know, we played well in the first half in spells, just lacking that final third. And then just the difference when Hagi comes back and just made such an impact. It was really good to see, and size, that's Hagi isn't he? He's a game changer, and we've missed him badly in the past few weeks, I'd say.
I've never been a fan of someone who doesn't play the full game, or at least 3/4 of a game, getting man of the match, but I think he's got a fair shout for last night.
Definitely. I think special mentions to Calvin Bassey. I think he had a really good game, and he's really, I think, just especially from last season, Calvin Bassey's came on so well. Like, I mean, not that he didn't play particularly poor last season, but I think the game that always sticks up in everybody's head is St Mirren in the Cup, isn't it, with him? But he's really worked hard since that, and, you know, his COVID breach and suspension, I feel, and he's came back and obviously, you know, looking in great shape, and, you know, he's worked on his crossing, and just a bear, isn't he? Like,
you really don't need to sell Calvin Bassey to me. He's no. I'm a massive fan. He's just such a powerful dribbler, isn't he? It's weird, he doesn't seem like a natural, skillful dribbler like you'd maybe have like a Ryan Kent, but he's just so powerful going forward and carrying the ball with him, and it's something you get. I think all four fullbacks, bring something a bit different as well, which is, I don't think we've really spoken enough about that. You know, Tavernier, you've got that he'll get to the byline time again, great crossing in. Patterson's probably more your what's the word?
Burst of energy.
Yes. Barisic is just your dead ball specialist. He's beautiful crosser of the ball. And then Bassey's just this absolute fucking powerhouse.
I think what's good to mention with Bassey as well, see when we're defending set pieces as well, like, I'm not saying Barisic is bad in there or anything, but, you know, it gives us a real, for both going forward and defending, it's a real presence in the box. And I mean, I certainly wouldn't like to be marking him at a corner. I was actually speaking to Craig at half time as well, and you know, like I mentioned about Patterson as well. I thought Patterson was really lively in the first half as well. He was the one driving us forward and making things happen. What I liked about him as well, he was just so forward thinking, which I know a lot of our fullbacks are, but he was using his pace. He looked really, really quick, and had a really good chance in the first half as well, getting a shot away. In the second half, I think he took a bad knock and it just knocked him off a wee bit. That's how we've seen Tav. I think he would have played probably 90 minutes if we were, you know, like, we're pretty comfortable at 2-0, to be honest. But no, he looked really good, Patterson. Lundstrom again. Sorry, I'm hogging the mic here. But Lundstrom was his best game for Rangers as well. I thought his passing was good. He took up the right positions, and what it made me think of, he was more playing in the Stephen Davis role. So is he getting played a bit out of position in these, you know, sort of wider free positions that Kamara and Jack normally takes up?
So I want to talk a bit about Lundstrom because he's been a very hot topic of contention, a bone of contention in the last few weeks, or since he joined really. Aye, it's a lot. We can be the worst fans of the world at times for writing people off, but also the worst fans of the world for bigging people up far too early, a la Glenn Middleton say. So he was, Winston was playing in the Steve Davis role last night, but we didn't sign him to play in the Steve Davis role. And I'm going to sound stupid here. See, when we re-signed Steve Davis, we didn't sign him for the now Davis role. He was more, I don't know, I'm an idiot when it comes to these numbers. Was he more of a number 8? He was a wee bit further forward, and he just kind of dropped into this like anchor role. Lundstrom, I don't know, is he going to do the same? Is it going to be a Davis or a Lundstrom? Or McAllister did say last night at the press conference that Rangers have a very complex system, and it's even 10 yards out of position will ruin it for the full team. It's very football manager-esque, right up your street. So is it just a case of either is he finding his role, or is he just taking time to get used to it?
I think you need to look at the different systems. So just from watching, doing nothing in lockdown and stuff like that, watching the Premier League, like Sheffield Wednesday set up with like 3 at the back, like a 3 in the back, and then had wing backs, which is obviously different from us. So his role would have been different, like when you think about that. And then obviously, we've got a flat back 4. We need to give him time. I think I said as well, great signing when he came on, and we were surprised that we got him in. I mean, he does need to settle in. We do need to. We need to give him time. I mean, as I say, not saying I follow Sheffield United, or the my English team or anything, but he was playing at a good standard in the games that I did watch of Sheffield United. I thought he was, really, really positive and impressed me. So I think we need to give him time. But I just felt he seemed a bit more suited in that role, and you get a better. If you're comparing him to Stephen Davis, and I'm in no way saying drop Stephen Davis, because he's probably been our best player, this from the start of the season, as he'll give you that physical presence in the midfield. He'll get about the pitch quicker, maybe a bit more than Stephen Davis because of Stephen Davis's age. So I think we need to be patient and. See if he finds his feet in that role. It's just only going to benefit Rangers and Stephen Davis, because then we can pull Stephen Davis out of not playing every minute. Like, you look at him at football he's played, especially with international duty, he needed a break. So it can only benefit Stephen Davis's game and also Rangers if he finds himself more comfortable, like being a replacement for that.
We launched some. I'm contradicting myself, because I think his best game was last night in that role, but I don't know, I still feel he'll be more similar to Arfield going forward. But then anytime he's played in like the Arfield role or like the Ryan Jack role or whatever, I'm now naming positions after players instead of numbers. But I feel he's not impressed at all. But I don't know, I just like. Anytime I did see him for Sheffield United, I didn't see him coming up as a deep blind playmaker. But I did think, in him saying that, the second half yesterday, I thought he was a lot quicker with the passing. I think he's looked to maybe half a yard off the pace a couple of times, maybe struggled with how little time he getting the ball up here, but he did feel just a bit sharper, a bit more urgent. I don't know if this is him finally getting his finger out.
Well, I think the criticism started with him as well as the Malmo game, wasn't it? Because he maybe pointing fingers at him at the goal. Should he have been covering for like the wing back or something? So maybe, well, as I say, that'll take time. Wednesday to cover, Wednesday to go and press the ball, all that stuff. But then, if he's playing that role, maybe it's a bit more, out of textbook, if you know what I mean. Like, this is my role. Like, it's not a crazy philosophy that Rangers, Steven Gerrard, Michael Beale have came up with. So, who knows? All I'd say is don't write him off yet. I think there's a player there.
So we're going to circle back to the main man, Yanis Hagi. Main man last night, and I do spend a lot of time on him, because he was exactly what we were missing in the second half against Motherwell. First first of all, hats off. He was quarantining for nearly 2 weeks. He'd only had to.
Seemed about 2 months to be.
I know, man. It was the longest. I know Rangers always have a prolonged injury time. If he's out for 3 days, he'll be out for 9 months. With Jordan Rossiter and Ryan Jack, but Hagi only had a couple of days back at training, and I think with Yanis Hagi, before we get in his technical ability, we didn't really see it these first 6 months. We've seen the talent, but he's just so up for it. He's very aggressive, and it's weird to say that for a wee guy and a very tidy footballer, but he's always got the fire in his belly now, and that's what you seen yesterday.
Definitely, and see, to be honest, see last season, I'll hold my hands up. I wasn't his biggest fan. I don't think he would have been in my starting 11. To be honest, like if I was picking my best 11, I'd have said probably Roof, Morelos, and Kent. That would have been my perfect front three. And Hagi is a great player to come off the bench, but now he's talked himself in. He's an automatic starter. I think if he's fit, if there was an old firm at the weekend, he'd be playing every day of the week. So I just think he's. Who knows? Like, I think he's a crowd. Like he enjoys playing out in front of a crowd. I'm not saying he was, because he provided the most assists I think last season as well. Even though he didn't, he wasn't an automatic starter or anything. I think he likes playing in front of a crowd. He relishes a bit of pressure as well. Like he'll take it upon his shoulders and just get that different bit of class that like it's completely special. And I think he looks a lot physically bigger as well, so like he's really adapted to the game, and it's had a big impact.
That's something you're seeing quite a lot with this Rangers team. I think there's very much an expectation that you have to win the physical battle before you're allowed to play football. Mm-hmm. That's a thing in Scotland, and I find Gerrard and the management team have definitely drilled that in with the slighter players. If you look, Aribo's built up, Hagi's built up, Scott Wright's put on nearly a stone in muscle since he's joined. Mm-hmm. Patterson's built up since they first broke on the scene. I know he was only counting about when he was 17, 18, so he was naturally going to develop, but they're no wee guys. We don't get out fought easily. Yeah. Hagi is definitely testament to that.
Yeah.
When I mentioned that is exactly what we were missing on Sunday, Gerrard said that after the Motherwell game on Sunday. He was very complimentary of almost back to middle to almost like 3/4, but just that very, very final piece. There wasn't enough bravery or imagination, especially in the box. I mean, how many times against Motherwell did we get into the box and, as that usual, extra touch out to the D, Kamara feints a shot, passes it wide again, cross in. Hagi with that cut back to Roof last night, just that bravery, speed of thought, that's exactly what we were missing.
Oh, fabs. No, definitely. Bit of creativity, and honestly, like, see when it came on as well, like just the reaction amongst the ground as well just seemed to change. Like everybody was delighted he was coming on. It wasn't Scott Wright's best game, and I'm a bit of a fan of him as well. I think he's a great prospect, and he's done well in his short term, but it absolutely lifted the place. And it was great to see him, and as you say, it made all the difference. But what about that pass into him for the goal as well? It was unbelievable. Was it Glenn? I think it was Glenn Kamara. Just an unbelievable put into his feet, and the touch. And it was just fantastic move it was.
Last question on Hagi, because I thought this was a no-brainer in terms of his position. I think he's been. I don't think he's best in the midfield three. I think ideally he would be suited at a kind of free roaming number 10 and behind the striker. Rangers don't play like that, so when he's playing, I want to see him on the outside right. Ideal, best case scenario, Kent in the left, Morelos or Roof in the middle, Hagi in the right. I'm hearing a lot of people say put him in the middle, put Aribo or somebody else up front. What's your thoughts on it? Where does Hagi go?
I don't know. The only thing is with adding another match, so I assume you're talking about maybe 4 in the back, 2 holding, and then like 3-1. It might clog up the space a bit more if he was to play with an extra, two wide men. I think that might clog up a bit of space for him as well. So absolutely, he's got the license to roam inside and sort of roam from his position. The midfield three will always protect, the front men. So I feel as though the license, like either Hagi, Ken, Wright, they get almost like they need to work hard. Yes, they need to close down and everything else. But I feel as though if he wants to come inside, he can. If he thinks if he's influencing the middle of the game, he will. So I'm with you. I think he's suited in this formation. We don't play the formation that add another attacker into the mix. But the only thing, he is very good in tight situations, but he's maybe getting a bit more space with just the three up front. So I'm completely happy. I wouldn't put him in the midfield three, but I would definitely keep him near the top end of the pitch.
It's just good to have him back, regardless. I'd fucking play him centre half now. Leading on to the next. Also, we're on a high after getting through the semi-finals of the League Cup, and I don't want to downplay that because it's a big criticism of this Rangers side, their performance in the Cup, and we need to take it one game at a time, and credit where credit's due. St Mirren put us out this time last year in the League Cup, so we're going one better. We need to be aiming to win the League Cup. That's non-negotiable, and that's not coming from an arrogant point of view. That's I think Rangers. There should only be one other team realistically going for these trophies. Celtic, and we're better than Celtic now. So credit where credit's due. Right, we've won the League Cup. We're on a high, so we'll no dwell on it too much. But the second half against Motherwell on Sunday was a shocker. Almost the reverse of Livingston. Livingston was so flat in the first half and then perked up in the second half. I thought we were really good in the first half against Motherwell. All was lacking was the finishing, and then bang, what a come down.
It's I actually heard somebody saying that we've started the second half really poorly, and that was another example of it. You think about the goals we've conceded. So it was who playing again away? Who was the last home away game? Sorry, we won 2-1.
St Johnstone,
yeah. So
we were shite for 70 minutes there.
Conceded a goal then, Malmo. It just seems to be a theme just now that we can't, that's poor defending and things. And it's the positive thing with that is that hopefully from the Livingston game we've taken a bit of confidence when going to second half's a bit more fired up and do the right things. But it was just really poor. I was just really disappointed with. Well, I was going to say mainly the defending at that point, but I guess it was just one time, but even a cutting edge at the top of the pitch, it was just really poor. And it's listen, at the end of the day, our biggest rivals lost, and we got a point, so one ahead. So I'm sure everybody would have taken that before the game.
What's so annoying is we could have been 6 points ahead of Celtic in September. 6 points is a big gap. The best of times. It's frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating to drop points at any point, but especially when they do. When you say there was that one mistake with Simpson and Golson, I thought we looked like we were going to ship a goal. Even if you go in very early on, I think it was the first 6 minutes, one ball over the top for the Motherwell keeper. Golson and Simpson just completely misjudge it, and Tony Watts through and goal. Golson recovers really well, but there was time and time again where we just looked very shaky. Also, it's too easy to say, we miss Alander too much, but we fucking do. It's easy to say because it's true.
I thought Balogun had a good game last night, though. He did play well. Is it too early to write Simpson off? But couldn't name you one Rangers fan that's happy to see him in the starting 11.
I mean, like a couple of weeks ago when Hollander was announced he was injured, I was telling Kenny in the Gallenfield group chat, don't shit the bed, but now I'm full time on Sunday. I was well and truly shitting the bed after seeing that. The difference is he's not got any credit in the bank. That's the thing, and I think we do give players the benefit of the doubt when. Sorry, I seen you look here. Just for the benefit of the listeners, we've got a Cellar game on in the background and they fucking distro lights. I nearly went in an epileptic fit there. But Jack Simpson doesn't have any credit in the bank, and he's always looked shaky, even when he's made his cameo appearances, and it's a very, very hard ground to buy yourself time.
I know, and then you look at the options that we had. We had George Edmondson, yes, being an idiot, and
the difference with Edmondson and Simpson. Edmondson did have his poor games and he did make mistakes, but he looked confident.
Aye.
He always picked himself back up. It seemed that even when he was having a poor game, it didn't look as if he was going to crumble at any point. I just feel like Simpson does, and I hope I'm wrong.
I know. Well, you look at that. We had obviously Edmondson, who we let go, Katic, who we put on loan. Obviously, reasons behind both of them. But at the end of the day, let's look at Rangers' best interest. Who would be I reckon Simpson's your third choice. I know it's good to say with hindsight. Simpson would be at the bottom of that pile, and we've let go two centre-halves who, personally, I would rather have in the mix. And Gerard obviously mentioned about Katic, saying it's unfair it's been selfish for Rangers. He needs to go and play football. I've seen he played 90 minutes of competitive football recently for the team he's on loan to, which is great. But at the end of the day, we have the option. I'm not saying they're the best centre halves in the world. I like both of them when they were obviously with us. But I would maybe have been trying to keep a hold of them. And I mean, as I say, how much football would have been playing with Hollander if he hadn't had his injury and whatever? It's obviously impossible to predict, but I think we would have all preferred them two to Simpson. I think everybody has said that. I'm
just really glad that we have that recall option for Katic in January, because I think it's been made very clear that Simpson is a project player, and you know what, see if he comes good in a year's time, then I'll happily hold my hands up. Like you do get a kind of faction of your support, like, come on, get behind the players. It's not that we don't want them to do well. Like, the players do well, Rangers do well. I really hope that he proves us wrong. But I don't know if you'll maybe even see if Katic does get a lot of game time under his belt, and we still need that fourth centre half because whatever's happening with Hollander. It might very well be Katic does come back, and I wouldn't mind Simpson going out on loan for 6 months to try and play maybe a lower level, like go to a Motherwell or Hearts or something where he's got to get regular game time, less pressure, try and get back into the speed.
I think he's a confidence player as well. Simpson, I think he looks like somebody that makes a mistake. He's it just affects him.
The head goes down.
Aye, and I look at some of the players. Look at Hagi. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If he makes a bad pass or something, he'll still try it next time or something. But I just think Simpson, as soon as something or the crowd or he reacts to something, I just think his head goes right down, and you can tell there's a mistake there. But well, we're being very critical here, but we're not trying to write him off. We're trying to, we hope he turns out to be a success. We hope
constructive criticism.
We hope he's the next Richard Gough and whatever. But obviously, it's not been the best start, and let's see what happens from there. He's going to, at the end of the day, he's going to need to play, because we've got 3 centre halves now. We've got Balogun, Goldson and Simpson. Obviously we've got Leon King coming through, so he is going to play games before Hollander's back. There's no getting away from that. So no, definitely he just needs to kick up the arse.
Best
but he'll probably start, this sort of character will just start greeting about it.
So Sunday, we should have known it was a bad omen with the flag day at the start. So it's again, I see every time I say these things have been debated. I love just looking at Twitter arguments, by the way, honestly, and sometimes I'll just like everybody's comments just to like fucking fire them up. But I love a good Twitter argument. But a lot of people were back and forth about Sunday, the flag day. I think it was mainly Gerrard and the management team said they didn't want the big song and dance. 55 is behind them, they're looking for 56. I get that argument, but this is going to sound very selfish. Flag day wasn't for them, it was for us. Gerrard's not waited 10 years for it, he's waited fucking 3. I've waited 10 years. So I totally get the sporting argument, but it wasn't for the players and the manager, it was for us.
100%. I thought if it's like if they do, I don't know, we could do fireworks or whatever, like it's just going to like bring the crowd on as well. Like it would be more energetic for it. The thing I'm raging is I had to leave the pub, 50 minutes early to get into the stadium. I was expecting a big flag day, and then
do you want to know what time I was in my seat for? Because I was that para, it was going to be like massive queues, everybody in early. I was in my seat for 2:20. That's shit,
Oh dear, I know. It's I can see his argument. If you have a big celebration, don't bring on 56. But at the end of the day, like we couldn't celebrate 55, like lifting the trophy in the stadium. Then the least you would expect is a bit of celebration for the flag.
Again, it's probably only fair to caveat this way. We are saying this after they dropped points. See if they won 4-0 in Sunday, and then we would have been like a master soak. Great idea, but it's very, very easy for us to say that now we've dropped points. I ain't going to be fair with that, but I still stand by it. Flag day was for me. I wanted the fucking RAF flying and everything. I wanted Andy Firth abseiling the flag down for the Govan and passing a mic to Tina Turner. I wanted the full shebang.
So he's in crutches, Andy Firth.
Is he?
I sit at Eastern Closure and you see all the players on down. It's brilliant. And
it's brilliant seeing Andy Firth in crutches.
No, but you see Andy Firth in crutches. So best wishes to him.
Aye, what happened to him?
Don't know.
How's a footballer that doesn't play football get injured? No, honestly, best wishes to him. That's a podcast favourite, Andy Firth. On the other breaking news, but it's not really breaking news. About 6 weeks ago, I did announce on the pod that Glenn Kamara signed a 2-year deal. Today, Rangers announced it. So I'm not going to do a daily record and just like say any bullshit. I claim it is always to like it was a fucking I don't know where I got that from. I must have heard somebody in work say, I'd love if Kamara signed a new deal, and I've picked him up right now. Signed a new deal. So I didn't have an inside scoop 6 weeks ago. But anyway, great bit of business. Just need Goldson now, but to get Kamara wrapped up, that's good for everybody.
Oh, definitely. Couldn't be happier. I'd if they gave you one or two, Colin, who would you pick, Kamara or Goldson, to get signed up?
Is this before or after Hollander got injured? It's a hard one. No, I probably would have said I want Goldson.
Well, that point's wasted then. No, I think it's a great bit of business. I think in terms of like from a business point of view as well. Like I think Kamara makes a bit more sense than Goldson because Glenn Kamara's 25 or something. He's come up to his peak years, securing him in that contract. I mean, I do imagine there's a fee somebody can pay and he can talk to them, sort of thing. But that'll make sense to both Rangers and Glenn Kamara. So it's a bit of business, great bit of business there, and I'm absolutely delighted with that one as well. Couldn't be happier. Maybe yourself.
No, I think I know what you mean though, between would you pick Kamara and Golson? Kamara's got to go for more money than Golson. He's a more sellable asset. He's younger. Getting that extension just reaffirms that we are not going to lose money in Glenn Kamara. Well, we're going for 50 grand. We were never going to lose money on him, but you know what I mean.
We could have lost him a free, to be fair. He was out of contract next season.
So I think Kamara's going to go in the seven figures, easy. That's 10 million, seven figures. No, 8 figures. You got to go for 8 figures, like at least. So it's brilliant, and we don't need to have that fear of him having a wonderful game in Europe and then he gets snapped up for the cheap. He's not going to be a Rangers player forever, but now they need to pay the right price for it. So delighted with that. With Golson, also he's no signed yet. He'll be free to sign a pre-contract in January. I don't know. I don't know if this is matches blind bias, but I've got a feeling he will sign at least another year's contract. But that's not coming from anywhere. That's not coming from any logic. It's just I'm following my heart here, Scott. What do you think?
You see, I try and look at it sort of both point of views. Like we're the first club, obviously since he's had his health problems. That we're the first one to really give him consistent football. I mean, you say consistent football, he could not have played any more games if he tried. He has played every game possible, and if you look back before he joined Rangers, if somebody had told him that, I bet you would have thought you were smoking crack or whatever, honestly, because we gave him a platform. We gave him a platform to become a real good centre back as well. So you think that'll be playing in his mind. He'll be thinking of the success last year and what they can build, and he'll be seeing the likes of his pals James Tavernier signing a contract extension, Glenn Kamara now, and I reckon he's looking at that and said, well, I should be next. So I think there is that inclination, but this is his last opportunity to maybe play in the English Premier League. So if he holds off, so the offer from Rangers will always be on the table for Goldson. I think he knows that. So if he was to say, he might test the water in January and say, I'm going to see who comes in for me, and somebody might just pay a stupid fee of, 4 million. I'm just spitballing numbers here, but a Premier League club, he's out of contract in 6 months, I'll sign him for nothing, or there's 2 or 3 million. Like somebody might try that, and it's. He might want to test the water with it, and to be honest, I would never blame him for that. But I'd obviously love him to sign an extension for the next 2 or 3 years. I think he feels really settled now, but I think there is just something in the back of the mind. He wants to play a higher competition in England, and I think they'll just be like that there. Who's actually interested? Do you know what I mean? Who's interested in me? Is it going to be a Brentford who's struggling with relegation, or is it going to be like maybe third choice centre half at a mid-table, an Everton or something? Which I think he could do. I think he could put a bit of competition at a team like that. But
I think he's good enough to play in the Premier League. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I agree with you. I wouldn't blame him too much. Like, taking my Rangers hat off and looking at fair neutral, he's helped deliver 55. He's been an excellent player for us. For him to, I know he's on a lot of money, but to go and get life-changing money to play one of the top leagues in the world, last chance. He's not a young boy anymore. I wouldn't blame him. I really wouldn't blame him, and it wouldn't leave with any other wishes for me. Also, best case scenario, signs the extension, and then somebody has to buy him for the money he's worth of it. But if I'm being honest, I couldn't grudge him if he did go.
And I think he's very attractive to like a Premier League club that wants to, he's good with the ball at his feet. Like, nobody's ever criticised Goldson. Yes, he'll maybe make a mistake in his earlier days, but he's very he'll take the ball in such a tight situation and he'll play football. He'll take it back, and he can ping a pass as well.
He loves that diagonal ball over the weekend, doesn't he?
Exactly. So if anybody is watching him, then I'm sure he'll fit into a lot of teams' philosophies. I look at teams like, you know, Leeds, for example, they pass the ball to death, and like, you know, he's better than that Liam Cooper or whatever, you know what I mean? Like Connor Goldson, they could fit in there no problem. And as I say, even if he's not first choice, I think he'll make a difference to a lot of Premier League teams.
So looking ahead to Saturday, the Rangers travel to Dundee. I know a couple of boys that are gone. They've got their riot shields and their helmets at the ready in case Lee Griffiths goes in the attack again. He's a fucking idiot, isn't he? I
think he's just sick of the abuse and get up him. I know. I mean,
he was getting called a pedo. He can't be having to think too hard to wonder why he was getting called that.
Oh, I know, and you wonder why he's hated by half of Scotland. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just that absolute stupid, childish behaviour, and you know, he needs punished for that. It really does. He needs that big suspension.
Could you imagine if Morelos farted in the direction of the fucking Way fans? Well, he'd be deported.
Oh, I know. It's I hope they do look at it. It's just absolutely shocking, and
I've not asked if they look at it or not because he's shite, and if he lines up again, I'd happily play Jack Simpson for him, but
Andy Fuff and crutches.
So, oh dear, poor Andy. But for a Rangers point of view, how do you set up and how do you see the game going on Saturday?
I think it'll be tough. If I'm being honest, I've just got with away games. I just feel as though like it's not the big part we're used to at Ibrox and maybe European games, and we might struggle to find some space and things like that. And I don't want to come across too negative just there, but we need to play Hagi. We definitely do. We need to play Hagi, and it'll be good bringing back. Tav's had a good rest. I know he played 30 minutes or so just there, but he'll have had, it's not 90 minutes in his legs. Stephen Davis is fresh, although with Lundstrom, it gives the manager another big decision. So yeah, I can see his as I said, Balogun had a good game, so I think the defence is pretty much self-explanatory.
Would you play Bassey or Barisic?
Yeah, that was just the one I was going to discuss. I wouldn't be too fussed either way, to be honest. Like I'm in that position now with Bassey. He's impressed me that much at the start of the season. Honestly, I'm not fussed who plays.
I think for me, when Borna Barisic finds form, there's only going to be one winner with him. But while he is still starting to get to grips with the season, I think I'd be happy with either or in terms of the one-off game. But then it goes to the argument: how does Barisic find form if he doesn't get a decent run of games, or does he need a game on, game off? But I've got a feeling they will go Barisic. Just looking ahead to Thursday at Brøndby, he might want to give Barisic at least 60 minutes or something, get him a run out.
Yeah. And you look at the midfield. So I think Aribo, Kamara, Davis is the midfield three we'll probably be lining up with. Can't see much change in that, to be honest. Maybe Arfield comes in. He's not had much game time as well, but we'll see with that one. And then up top, Hagi, Roof, and Morelos. I'd say is the front three.
I don't think Yanis Hagi can beat your team. And I think that midfield three, Davis, Kamara, Aribo, while they've not been tremendous at excellent, I've said ahead of the light. They've not really had any terrible games. I've not really. I mean, maybe people look back to Leon. I don't think very many had got past marks, and I know Motherwell on Sunday we were talking about, especially Rebo and Kamara getting to that very final third. But in terms of the midfield up until you get to the box, I think they've done their job well enough in getting the ball up. So no, I think that'll be a midfield three. I think I'd agree with that team. My only question mark would be, is it Bassey or Barisic? But I think it will be Barisic just going ahead to Thursday. McGregor will be back in, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I think in terms of the Leon game, I don't think we played particularly. I've not obviously been honest in that. I don't think we played particularly poor. In that game, we just lacked a wee bit, as I say, a bit of imagination. I thought the final third for Morelos had a really good game against Leon as well.
He was fucked by the end. A few people around me obviously frustrated were giving him a bit of stick towards the end, but I thought first 60, 70 minutes he was really good, and not one of us fucked. He was chasing a lot of dead balls.
Exactly. So no, absolutely. I think that will be the team. Where are you going for a prediction?
Right, I'll go solid 2-0 Rangers.
Go up 1-0.
1-0. Yeah, I don't have another 1-0 in me, man. It's too nervy. Jesus.
Watching it behind the pillow anyway. Aye.
I know. Oh, if it's a 1-0, we'll score not in the first 5 minutes, and it'll just be 85 minutes of shite.
Aye, that's it.
Well, 2-0, I'm going for, and 1-0 for Scott. But no, what? Just to try and build a bit of momentum, I take out of the order now.
Oh, aye. I think we just see when we get a few good performances in a row. I think it'll make a big difference. Convincing ones. I think we'll kick on from there.
We've always got to have a come down after 55.
Aye. And to be honest, I would rather this start we have, we grow a bit of momentum and grow into the season, we finish the season strong. If we were to have it, I would rather have it now, being 4 points ahead of Celtic, to be honest with you. So no, I absolutely, if we were to let's try and build the momentum towards the
business end, as they call it.
That's definitely.
Well, I think that'll bring us to a close. Scott, always a pleasure, never a chore, mate.
Aye, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And thank you as always to everybody who's listening. Same request as always, let us know your thoughts. If you agree with us, if you don't, think we're talking pish, that's fine as well. Let us know your comments on follow Twitter, YouTube, or wherever you get the podcast. And thank you for listening. We are the people.